S.1, what do you think about putting that in the show today?
Absolutely. I really like that. But how did you come up with that?
I was just thinking about what's the best way to serve the guys today on the MD and Chef Team show.
Yeah, and I was thinking, what about adding something like this to one of the pillars, just to empower, to equip them?
Beautiful. Oh, and may I say, speaking of beautiful, you look exceptionally gorgeous today, my dear.
Thank you, Ben.
Oh my gosh, I just noticed. I think it's time for the MD and Chef Team show.
Yay! Let's go!
The content in this show is for informational purposes only. It is not intended for medical advice. It does not take the place of medical advice or treatment from a physician or health professional. Listeners and viewers should consult their own doctor or a qualified healthcare professional for specific health and wellness concerns and questions. And now, let's start the MD and Chef Team show.
Hello and welcome to the MD and Chef Team show. I'm nutritional chef Michael, and I'm joined as always by my hottie bride,
Aww,
Isabel.
Isn't he adorable?
Your Dr. Isabel, MD.
And look, we matched today. Well, kind of like I've got like a nice
match,
foresty green, you know, and a little beigey ear.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave. And look at you. I love this color on you. Thank you for introducing me as your hottie bride. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being a hottie bride.
It takes work.
Yes.
It takes
Well,
work,
we
just
know
so
it
you
takes
know
work. Yeah, we know
This
it takes
just
work.
doesn't wake up
Yeah.
looking like this.
Well, we're glad to have you here today. Oh, it's going to be a very, very exciting day here on the MD and Chef Team show. We've got an interview coming up that's just going to blow your mind. This gentleman has come through so much in his life, and yet his attitude is so amazing, so beautiful, so positive that we can all learn a lot. We're going to be paying attention to definitely learn a lot from him, because we love his attitude of life, and
he's an overcomer.
And you're going to be amazed with his story.
So don't go anywhere, okay?
Now, do you have a few things you want to talk to the guys about today, or whoever's listening?
And
because
family.
I know the ladies are out there, families.
Right. That's right. Well, the reason we're here on the MD and Chef Team show on the NGBN TV network is because we want you to be wealthy. Now, I know right now that definition is financially wealthy. And look, we need money. It's oxygen. If we don't have it, we die, right? But I want to refer back to the Middle English definition of wealthy, which is well-being emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That's what we do here on the MD and Chef Team show. And we focus on helping people understand that we don't really have a mental illness issue. We've got a brain health issue. The mental illness issue is the downstream event. The brain health issue is the upstream event. And when we focus on the upstream event, all of the contributors of our brain health and learning how to support them will do so much better. And we won't have the downstream event like anxiety, depression, and even suicide. The best example that I can give you is by my mentor, Dr. Mark Hyman, who says, you know, focusing downstream instead of upstream is kind of like mopping up the floor while the sink is overflowing instead of just turning off the faucet. So here on the MD and Chef Team show, we talk about learning how to take control of your health and not handing it over to a doctor, but you taking control of your health and learning to turn off the faucet. So you've got a great life. A wealthy life, right?
Not continuing to keep on mopping up the mess.
No.
Just turn off the faucet. Let's find out what the contributors are.
That's right.
Yeah, let's go upstream.
So how are we going to help the guys today?
Well, today's an exciting
and the girls.
day.
Sorry, ladies.
Everybody out there. Today is an exciting day. Well, let's take a look at the schedule for today and see what we're going to be up to. Here it comes.
Jenna.
Yes.
Thanks, Jenna.
So in a moment, I'm going to introduce our guest now. He is known as Guy, but I'm going to make an attempt at his full French long name. But hey, please remember, everyone, questions and comments are open throughout the show. This is live interactive. We're going to learn more about Guy, and we're going to learn more about his story and what we can gain from his strength of willpower. Stay tuned for later in the show. Guy's going to have today's big take home. I know it's going to serve you well. And at the end of today's show, we're going to have our relationship chat, which we always have. But today it's going to be about friendship. So what's some best practices to have good quality, empowering friendships? And again, we'll finish off with empowerment conversation. So today, let's just have an amazing conversation with a bunch of friends here together, talking with you. And so in a moment, I'm going to introduce our guest.
He's looking at his notes, because if we don't have notes, guess what? We'll be pinging all over the place.
So Guillaume Poirier.
I
love that name.
I know.
Guillaume Poirier is a father of 2 girls, and he is the host of Tripping Through Transformation here on the NGBN TV network. He's a member of NGBN, gone through a lot in life. So without further ado, kind of a drum roll, here comes our friend Guy.
Making sure I'm listening. Hey guys.
How are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Great.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We're glad you're here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Coming to us from?
Yeah, where are you at?
Creston, British Columbia, Canada. A little town of about 1,500 people in the mountains. Yeah.
Wow. Now, I have a feeling, reading a little bit about your story, that's not where you grew up. So can you just share with us where you grew up and a little bit about kind of how that molded you and affected you for the rest of your life? A little bit of your backstory there.
Okay, yeah. I was born in Saint-Agathe-des-Monts in Quebec, French-speaking province in Canada, right? At the age of 10 years old, my mom decided to uproot us and move us to Alberta. I had an uncle there who had a store, and my mom was trying to start a new life for us, and she figured, her brother could give her a hand. And so we packed up everything we had and trekked across the country, moved to Alberta. I didn't speak a word of English, so that was a challenge.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
And new kid, so trying to fit in, challenging, right? Also, I was going to private school before, and I was going to public school, so there's a lot of transitioning I had to do. I didn't fit really well, but that helped shape me for sure. And I spent most of my life in Fort McMurray, Alberta, until I lost my home to wildfires, and that kind of triggered a series of events that ultimately led to me looking for work, and that's how I ended up in British Columbia. So I'd be happy to dig into any of that, but I'll give you a chance to ask questions.
Yeah. Well, I think we do have a picture of you as a young man back in school. I'm wondering if we could pull that. There he is.
Oh,
Guillaume Poirier. There he is, Frenchman.
That's my
French guy. Many of you made fun at.
That's how I felt back then. I was bullied a lot for my accent, for one. I didn't really speak proper English, and just being poor and being short and whatever, having pimples. You guys know what it's like in high school, right? So
I mean,
so you had gone from Quebec, where they only speak French, right?
Right.
To a new part of Canada where they speak English.
Primarily. I mean, there's always going to be a few pockets of French people throughout Canada, but you really have to search for them in certain parts. I was fortunate that in Fort McMurray at the time, there was, I don't want to say a French school, but there was definitely like a French wing to an English school that I could attend. And I didn't have to jump straight into English school. So that was a good thing. But yeah, grade 10, 11, 12, that was all English, and I really struggled there. So that was
wow. And the teenage years is a tough time.
As a teenager.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, it helped me. It helped make me a stronger person. I spent a lot of time by myself and just pushing through. I mean, bullying sucks and adversity sucks, but it toughened me up. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, that could have gone another way too. I mean, there's a lot of kids that don't make it through those situations in school when they get bullied and a lot of negativity. I mean, they go down an area of depression and suicidal thoughts. And it sounds like you took it in more of a positive way as, okay, I'm going to use this to make me stronger, which is, not easy.
I've looked back on a lot of challenges I've had in my life, and I can never really give you an answer as to how I overcome them. I just push through. Maybe that's just who I am by nature, just determined, resilient, stubborn, pig-headed. I don't know. But yeah, I just plow through. So I don't know where I acquired that.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, so out of school, what career did you move into, and what did you do after coming out of school?
Yeah, so as a child, I always wanted to be one of three things. I figured I would be a doctor, a lawyer, or I would be a successful businessman. That didn't pan out. I had some ideas after graduation. I thought I'd be an architect, but I didn't have the grades. I thought I'd be a computer programmer, didn't get in. So it was suggested to me that I should try power engineering. I mean, Fort McMurray is an oil town, so a lot of the trades that they teach there are centered to cater to the oil sands, right? So they have a college, or community college, that caters to the trades. I was told, hey, it's an easy job and you're going to make a lot of money. So at 18 years old, I said, sign me up. I want a Dodge Viper. So
is that a car?
Yeah, that's a car. Yeah.
I know. A Dodge Viper. Yeah.
That was my dream car back in those days. So I enrolled. I mean, I went to school. I didn't like the material. I found it dry and boring. I had struggle staying awake in class, honestly. But I went through the work term, and because, you do like a class, a section in class, and then you do like a work practice. And during my work practice, I was bullied there even as an adult, just because coming out of high school, I was just so in a bubble, never fit in, never had friends. I didn't really know how to socialize, still had that accent. Didn't know a lot about tools. So I'm going into like the oil industry, and I don't know a Robinson from a Phillips, lots of things. So it was challenging. I didn't really fit in. And by the end of it, at my work term, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And I just dropped out, got work, at like Walmart and grocery stores and things like that, until I became a father. And then I said, well, I got to go back to school and make money. And I went back into power engineering, and that led to a 15-year career that I didn't really enjoy, but it paid really well, and it helped support my family while I needed to. So it was a good thing to have at the time. It definitely got me through those years where I was raising young children, but I was never happy. And then when the fire happened, I ended up losing my job, something we can go into a little deeper if you want, but
Yeah.
Power engineering for 15 years in the oil sands is what I've done for most of my life.
Okay. All right. Well, we want to get back into that, but just right now, we're going to take a short break. And then when we come back, we'll get into continuing on that story, because we want to kind of hear what happened with the fires. And, obviously that sounds like a tragic part of life. But now we're just going to take a short break. And so please keep in mind, everyone, now we'd love to have you join us in our Healthy Brain Club at doctoronthemission.com. We'll be right back after these messages, continuing the conversation with Guy.
What's up? My name is Chris Rubio, and I'm the host of The Rubio Method on the NGBN TV network.
Focus up. Long snapping and life are very, very similar.
We have a great show that's going to educate you, inspire you, and most importantly, entertain you. I say most importantly because that's what I really want to do. And we're just kind of going on this journey together. And I'm going to make sure as we go on this journey together, you're going to have a good time while doing it. So check out the Rubio Method on NGBN TV.
You're watching the exclusive sneak peek of NGBN TV. Like never before, streaming content for men is now available, with more to come. Join us on this journey as we introduce you to content creators and shows that are here to inspire, educate, entertain, celebrate, and support men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. We can't do this without you, so please enjoy this sneak peek, but also share it with your friends and family, and help us connect with companies, organizations, brands, or nonprofits who align with our mission to save men's lives. This is the NGBN TV Sneak Peek.
Welcome to Tripping Through Transformation. I'm your host, Guillaume Poirier, and I'm inviting you on a journey that will expand your outlook on life. Join me as we delve into the realms of mental health, resilience, personal growth, community, and alternative healing. Through personal narratives and expert insights, we'll explore the transformative power of shared stories. Get ready to escape from narrow perceptions and dive into a world of diverse perspectives. Tripping Through Transformation is where stories become pathways to empowerment.
Welcome back, you healthy brain enthusiasts, to the MD and Chef Team Show. I'm Doctor on a Mission, and we're here with Guy, and we're going to go into the deeper part of his experience. When your house burned down, what happened?
I think we've got a picture. If our wonderful producer, Jenna, could bring that up, and you can kind of talk us through this picture.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the aftermath of the fire. So in 2016, there was the Horse River wildfires, and a large section of the town of Fort McMurray actually burnt down, like lots of like neighborhoods. So I'm not the only one to have lost a home, but yeah, one of the many for sure. And that's all that was left. I always find amazed that the only thing that survived was that trampoline made out of plastic. Everything else burned. Yeah. But yeah, May 3rd, 2016, if you want to get into it. Is that
So any kids involved? Everybody was safe? Were you guys home?
So May 3rd, 2016 is a pivotal day for me for so many reasons. When people ask me, tell me about yourself, that's always the easiest date to start because I can go back and forward. But that's the starting point for me. May 3rd, 2016, when I woke up that morning, I was actually getting ready to write a power engineering exam. I'd been with the company for 10 years at that point, and even though I wasn't happy, I didn't see myself going anywhere else. And I figured I might as well go as far as I can in that profession. So I was actually getting up and I wrote an exam that morning. My girlfriend was also leaving me at the same time. So she was packing up her things, moving out of my house. And that afternoon, I got a call from her saying, hey, they're probably going to announce a mandatory evacuation of the town because the fire is getting out of control. You should probably fuel up your SUV. And I think it'd be a good idea if you and I evacuated together, just to stay together, and just because I had a big vehicle and stuff like that. So we actually connected again in the afternoon. She came to my house, and I spent the afternoon cleaning, which she laughs at because she's like, why are you cleaning your house for it to burn down? But we didn't know what was going to happen for sure. And that evening we finally got the call, okay, let's evacuate, which we did. But there were so many people evacuating, and there's only one road out of town in Fort McMurray. Fort McMurray is at the northern part of Alberta, and you can only go south. But there's so many people evacuating, the highway was blocked up. So they were actually sending people north where it's a dead end towards the territories, just to kind of direct flow, I guess. When we spent that night on the side of the highway pitching a tent. And then that's when I got a call from the mother of my children. So my children were with their mother that day. And I got a call saying, hey, I'm considering, looking for a place to rent in Edmonton, which is 5 hours away from Fort McMurray. And at that time, I was thinking, well, I don't really know what's happening with the evacuation, with the fire. I still have a job. I still have a mortgage. I still have things. I can't really talk relocation. But that was when I got the first glimpse that she was considering moving away my children. And sure enough, within a few weeks, even though she didn't lose anything in the fire and I'd lost everything, she made the choice to move to a different town. And then I had to go to court for 2 years and basically fight to enforce our 50-50 parenting agreement, which led to a whole bunch of other things, financial issues and whatnot. But I'll give you guys a chance to jump in.
No, continue on. You're on a roll.
So the evacuation happened. I think we evacuated. I don't remember how many weeks now. I want to say it was 6 weeks, but I could be wrong. But we were gone out of town for a little while, and over time, I was mostly going to court for the first year until they rebuilt my home. I did move into my rebuilt home in 2018. I want to say February 2018. The court stuff ended in April of 2018. And then by October of 2018, the girlfriend that was moving out on March 3rd, 2016, we had gotten back together. But on October 6th, 2018, we were engaged by then. And she said to me that night that she'd found a new place to live and she was moving out. So being single income household and with all the financial hardship that I went just going to court, I could no longer afford to live in my house. And I was also paying $2,700 a month in child support. So with my mortgage and everything, I just couldn't. So I told the bank, come and take my house. So I lost my house to fire. I fought 2 years to uphold custody, 50-50 custody of my kids. And then I lost my house again to foreclosure. And then because I had no home, guess where my kids went? To live with their mom full time. So that was just like another kick in the, in the groin, so to speak, because it was always one thing after another. It felt like no matter what I did, no matter how well intended I was, like no matter how good my intentions were, I couldn't do anything right. Everything ended up blowing up in my face. So yeah, the bank foreclosed on my house. I lost my house to foreclosure. which then led to me filing for consumer proposal, which is like a lesser version of bankruptcy, because my house had lost $200,000 in value. I couldn't afford to pay it out. So I said, all right, fold, right? Then bit by bit, I lost more things. The next thing was I lost my retirement. I said, well, I can't afford my bills. I should cash out my retirement, pay off some bills. Did that. Then the next thing was off my vehicle because I can't afford my vehicle. And you know what I mean? Bit by bit, things being stripped away until I had nothing left. And then I want to say in 2020, I mean, I'd been going through bouts of anxiety, depression, whatever, not sleeping and all that stuff. I was having issues with prescription medication, and I decided to self-medicate with cannabis. And I think within a month of me doing that, I got pulled aside for a random drug test, which I failed for THC. So then I was sent for a drug abuse assessment, which determined I didn't have an abuse problem. The company decided to keep me on. I told them I was looking at getting a medical cannabis license. And for the next 7 months, it was a back and forth of, well, we need more documentation. We need a different opinion. We need this, we need that. And I wasn't getting anywhere. And one night I had an altercation at home. I felt anxious. I smoked a joint. 4 days later, I was tested and I failed the second time. So that's when I was fired from my job.
Yeah.
Oh.
And like, I was just trying to cope, right? I was trying to do the right things, jump through the circles, but I wasn't getting anywhere. And in a moment where I needed something to kind of get me over a situation, it cost me my job. But it was devastating at the time. Turned out to be the best thing in my life. Without
we get that.
Yeah.
And now cannabis is used medicinally, for anxiety, for insomnia.
Doesn't matter, because I was in a safety sensitive position where like I had people's lives and I had millions of dollars of equipment in my hands. I could have caused explosions or whatever. So they took it very seriously, which I understand. But for me, I was trying to find a way where we could have an open conversation and come up with a plan. But I felt like I was hitting a wall all the time and I wasn't getting an answer. And eventually it just cracked.
Yeah. And somehow, I mean, you came out of that. I mean, here on, our show and the NGBN TV network, we talk about brain health, mental health. I mean, I am amazed you're here today.
Yeah.
Somehow you worked your way through all that. Was there as you reflect on that, was there any point where you just thought, nah, that's me, I'm out of here, I'm just gonna, end my life? Or was there something that turned it where you said, you know what, I am gonna get through this? Was there a point in there where you said, no, I'm gonna get through this?
After I lost my job, that was like the nail in the coffin for me. I'd lost my house, I'd lost my retirement, I'd lost everything I'd worked for, I'd lost. And I felt that was like the last piece of me that I was holding on to. So when I lost that, I said, well, what's next? Like, who am I now? What do I get up in the morning for? Right. This had been my routine for 15 years.
Right.
And that was gone. And then it was in the middle of COVID that I was let go. And I was let go December 21st, 2020. And I got my stuff, the contents of my locker in the mail on Christmas Eve. So that was a blow. But so it was during COVID. I knew it would be hard to find work during COVID. And I applied to so many jobs, just never heard anything. I did have a brief stint as a lubricant and grease salesman, but it was a door-to-door job and I had no sales experience. And I didn't sell a single thing in 6 weeks. By the end of 6 weeks, I was given an ultimatum: either you quit or we fire you. I said, well, please fire me, because I'm not quitting. But they fired me. But to answer your question, I was very fortunate where I saw an opportunity to start a business, which, like I said, I'd always figured I would be a doctor, a lawyer, or a businessman. I figured doctor, lawyer, kind of out of my scope right now, but a businessman is still an opportunity. But I didn't know what kind of business or how to start a business. So I was just kind of scrambling until one day, I had two lucky breaks, actually. I posted on Instagram and I was contacted by a business coach. So I connected with Diana Noble, who became my entrepreneurship coach for several years. But the turning point, I think, for me was when I heard an ad on the radio for Startup YMM, which was a local organization in Fort McMurray. And they were trying to give new entrepreneurs a way to launch their businesses. And I said, well, that's perfect. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. And while there, I mean, I struggled. I was put in the mentorship program, and eventually I was kicked out is the wrong word. I was told, maybe this isn't right for you at this time, because I was really struggling mentally and I just couldn't function right.
Sure, we understand.
Yeah.
But people noticed and people still believed in me. And I'm going to call her out because I call her my guardian angel. It's Mia. She works at Startup YMM. She took notice of me and she always supported me with, if I had to do a presentation, she'd give me feedback. If she saw I was struggling, she found me work to do around the office. Like, she really went out of her way to make sure that I was noticed and I had something to do and I had a purpose and I wasn't ignored and just left to struggle. And that led to connections and until I met Ian, and then I met, I'm in NGBN, and then here we are today on the show, right? So it just kind of snowballed. But I did an interview for Startup YMM. There's footage actually in my preview there where I'm sitting on the chair in front of the camera.
Yes.
And in that interview that day, I said, I don't even remember the question that was asked of me, but I said, if you really believe in something, never give up. And then after the interview, I went in my car and I just started crying because I was ready to give up. Like, I was telling people don't quit, but I wanted to quit.
Sure. Yeah.
I felt like such a jerk, and but that's where I was. But Mia just,
I hear you.
Her support just carried me through so much. So, and it's funny now, whenever I see an opportunity come my way, I say, oh, Mia gifted me an opportunity. It's all Mia now. So, yeah. Well, I never thought of taking my life, but I definitely got to a point where I was scheming plans. Like, oh, if I put that rope around my neck, would I actually kill myself, or would I be paralyzed and become a burden to my family? Oh, my girlfriend takes sleeping pills. Maybe one day I can just pick up her prescription for her and then just take the whole prescription.
Right.
Yeah. I never actually got to the point where I'm taking the steps to take my life, but the gears were definitely starting to turn in my head where, if I'd crossed the street and the bus hit me, I would have been like,
Yeah. But that didn't happen. You've got a purpose, my brother.
That's not the plan.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's not the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm aspiring to do.
That is not the plan. You have just you're an overcomer, and you've done so much to help. Other people would have just said bye.
Yeah.
But you've got so much of a story to help people. I know that this has happened to you to help other people get inspired and encouraged. And you may not know how you did it, but you woke up every day and you still kept walking on.
I always say that honestly, my driving factor has just been the fact that I have 2 daughters. They depend on me, and I refuse to leave them to their own device. Like they need me. So I have to put on my big boy pants and do what I got to do. Right. If I didn't have them, I don't know. I might have not had the motivation to get out of bed most mornings.
Yeah.
When did they start living with you? How old were they when they started living with you?
Well, full time.
Yeah.
Just since I moved to British Columbia 2 years ago.
Wow. So they were in their teenage years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 14, 15.
That's good.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. That's a great reward.
Good job, Dad.
Well done.
They're a blessing to you.
Hard
to keep
fought,
you going.
but hard fought for sure. But I love my kids, man. I'd do anything for them.
Nice. Good stuff. Well, hold that thought, because we do have to take a short break.
Oh, yes, that's right.
We're going to take a short break. We've got more questions, more goodness coming from Guy after this. Hey, please keep in mind, we'd love to have you join us in our Healthy Brain Club at doctoronamission.com. We'll be right back after these messages. See you soon.
Hey, I'm Micah McCreary.
And I'm Rich Fry, and welcome to TrueX Outdoors,
The ultimate outdoor show.
So come tag along with us as we experience thrilling adventures in hunting and fishing.
From the mountains to the rivers, we'll bring you the most action-packed outdoor experiences.
Watch us now on NGBN TV.
TrueX Outdoors.
One week after launching our exclusive sneak peek, NGBN TV was live for 3 days of continuous coverage from Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas.
NGBN TV is live from Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58.
The one-of-a-kind streaming TV network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s was the conversation for the big game about men's mental health. In the world of athletes, celebrities, and influencers, we're on notice. But we're just getting started with new partnerships announced like the Team Nike 3-on-3 Championship and new platforms available to download the NGBN TV app. So, what are you waiting for? Download the app today from your favorite streaming device or check us out at ngbn.tv. This is NGBN TV.
Hey, it's AC of AC Sports Live, an interactive sports talk show where your comments are part of the show. Every show we focus on the sports stories of today with commentary on sports takes, My 2 Cents, which is a reaction to my social media feed, Sports Flicks, where we take a look at sports movies and give a quick review. We have a segment called Mental Reps, where we have words of inspiration to help battle the dark side of men's mental health. And then there's the Tender Love Report. Who's being soft or petty in the world of sports? Streaming live on the NGBN TV network, Roku, Amazon Fire, and other social media platforms. All takes are welcome under one condition. Say it with your chest. I'll see you there.
Welcome back. I hope you had a healthy brain snack while you were awake. I was watching you.
Yeah.
Yes, I was watching you. And it's time to buckle in and continue on with the MD and Chef Team Show. Let's go. Back to Gui.
Yeah. Some great conversation. So many different things going on there. But, we had heard some of your story, and one part I saw was about some medical things that happened to you. And of course, when I saw that, I said, Isabel, what does all this mean?
Poor
And
guy.
as she explained it to me, I thought, holy cow, what? I mean, this guy he's a trooper.
Yeah,
So
you
you
are a
wanna-
trooper. Can you pull up the picture of
Yeah.
Gui in the hospital, please, Jenna?
Yeah.
Oh,
And just
Gui.
talk us through this a little bit.
Yeah, that was after my first surgery. So in 2006, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. 2006 was a crazy year. That's the year Winter was born. That's the year that I started working in the oil sands. And that's the year I was diagnosed with this chronic disease. I started noticing blood in my stool. That's how that started. And over the years, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I've tried every medication you could think, Remicade, Humira, just prednisone, just the whole schmore. I don't remember all the drugs I tried, but nothing worked. And for a little while, I actually went to the University of Alberta in Edmonton, and I was part of a stem cell clinical trial for ulcerative colitis, but it was double-blind placebo, so I don't know if I ever actually got the drug, and it didn't do anything for me. So I don't know if it's because it didn't work or I just didn't get the drug, but that didn't work. And after that, it was just determined that essentially my colon was it was described like a rubber boot. It just didn't absorb anything anymore. It was just dead. So it was determined I should probably just have it removed. So that picture is after I woke up from surgery. I'd had a total proctocolectomy, is what it's called, with a ilioanal pouch and temporary loop ileostomy. That's what I had.
Wow.
So basically, they took out my entire colon, my entire large intestine, as well as my rectum. They only leave like a little sleeve there. And then they take your small intestine, they form a pouch, which is the J pouch, hook it up to that little sleeve of the rectum that they left behind. And I want to say you're good as new, but you're not, because now you have less pipe and, retention is an issue. But it made my life a lot easier. I wasn't running to the bathroom 20 times a day, a drop of a hat anymore. And it definitely improved my life. Yeah.
And you're gaining, you were able to gain weight back on, and
weight fluctuated a lot for me based on the medication I would take. Like prednisone would make me retain water like crazy. My face would balloon up and whatnot. So I would go from anywhere from 210 to 150, 210, 150. Wow. Yeah, my weight was never stable. But yeah.
But how are you now going through that process physically wise? How's the body feeling?
My body's fine now. I don't take any medication except for I have an infusion every 8 weeks called Entyvio, and basically it's just to keep inflammation and keep the disease under control. Technically, I'm healed because I don't have the organ for the body to attack anymore, but the disease is still in my body, and it can still attack that little sleeve that was left behind, and that can lead to pouchitis and stuff like that. But the infusions keep that in check. I'm feeling great. You know, I've got a normal life. I mean, I use the bathroom maybe 5-6 times a day, which is more than most people, but I'm not going 20 times a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, I have a normal life like everybody else. Yeah.
And there's no blood.
No blood anymore.
Thank God, no more blood.
Yeah. But the funny thing about that is when I first went to see a doctor, they thought I had hemorrhoids, and they actually put me on the operating table. They put me to sleep, everything, getting ready to bind and cut off these hemorrhoids. And then they said, "Oh, there's no hemorrhoids here. What's this?" And they took a biopsy, and "Oh, you have colitis."
Yeah.
Cool. Not what I expected, but yeah.
Interesting that it happened when you were having a really tough time too. You said it was in 2006.
Yeah, well, 2006, it was stressful because at the start of January 2006, I was homeless. Like when I met the mother of my children, she moved in with me. I was renting a bedroom, and then her and I got kicked out. We had nowhere to live. Fortunately, while she was pregnant, her aunt let us live in her basement. But, you know, we didn't have a home. We were going to be a family with a child, and we had nowhere to have a child. The day that Winter was born is the day that we got accepted to move in. So literally, the night before, Anastasia's giving birth, and then the next day I'm moving in. Like it was insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then later that year, I got a job. So like it was just a lot happening, but. Doctors can't tell me the cause of colitis. And I hear some people say it's a autoimmune disease. Some people say it's like a gut bacteria thing, and I don't know. I can't figure it out, but I'm just trying to live a better life now and live healthy and keep things under control.
Yeah. Good on you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So I got a question for you, Guy.
Yeah.
So who has been the most influential person in your life and why?
Oh man.
It can be more than one.
It could be more.
I've got one. It's just it'd have to be my grandmother, I guess. Even though I didn't think about her for most of my life, it's a very recent thing for me. But right. I believe I don't know do we have time to tell you the story of my grandmother and my driving purpose?
Now you go, man.
So my grandmother passed away about a week after my 6th birthday. And when she passed away, she had about $2,000 in life insurance, and she gave it all to my mom. Now, my mom has 8 other brothers and sisters, so that didn't go over really well, that my mom got the whole $2,000. But she was the youngest of the family, and I was the youngest kid. And my grandmother believed in higher education, I guess. She thought it was important for me to go into private school. I come from my grandparents, you know, no education. I don't even think my parents graduated high school. So no education, poverty, history of substance abuse, history of violence, you know, all that stuff. And I really believe that my grandmother wanted to give me like a leg up, or at least my next generation, her future generation a leg up. And that enabled me to go into private school for 4 years. Now, $2,000 only covered about 4 months or so. So my mom definitely played a big role in, you know, working and putting in those extra hours to keep me enrolled in private school. But having that foundation in private school really set how can I put this? As a kid, I really had a strong sense of self, and I felt like I could accomplish anything, do anything. And that stayed with me throughout my life. Even when things were falling apart and I was like, I'm not deserving of anything better, a part of me still felt you could do better than this. You know what I mean? So that never went away. And I think it's thanks to my grandma. And and my purpose now is to heal. I want to heal people as best as I can. I want to inspire. I want to share my story so that people, you know, they persevere and they don't dump. So
and we've got a question from Larry Klein there. What would you say the keys to not quitting?
I guess that's gonna be kind of like your big take home, huh?
Oh, would that be part of your big take home for the day? Keys to not for part of
that would tie into that. That would tie into my take
home. Okay, well, it's time for the big take home.
Big take home.
Perfect timing, Larry.
There you go. What do you got?
Right back to me, or do you guys have a
spiel? No, you got it. It's your big take home of the day. And it'll help Larry and others.
So when I was thinking about this, the story of the Chinese farmer came to mind. I've heard the story told different times. There's variations, but the moral of the story is always the same. So there's a Chinese farmer, and he's only got the one horse. And one day his horse runs away, like it breaks out from the enclosure. And the villagers come to him and they say, "Oh, isn't that so unfortunate that your horse ran away?" And the farmer goes, "Well, we'll see." And then the next day, his horse came back, but he brought back 2 wild horses with it. So the villagers come back to the farm and they say, "Isn't it wonderful that you got your horse back? And he brought back 2 horses. You've got 3 horses now." And the Chinese farmer just goes, "Well, yeah, well, we'll see." So then the next day, the farmer's son decides that he's going to try to train one of the wild horses. And in the process, he breaks both his legs. So now the villagers, they come back to the farm and they say, "Oh, isn't that so unfortunate that your son broke his legs?" The Chinese farmer goes, "Well, I don't know. We'll see." And so then like about a week later or so, the local militia, they come to the farm and they say, "We are recruiting all able-bodied young men." But because the farmer's son had broken legs, he couldn't go. So the village comes, the villagers come again and they go to the farmer as, "Hey, isn't it fortunate that your son had broken legs and he couldn't go fight in the war?" The farmer goes, "Oh, we'll see." And the moral of the story is you never know. You never know what's around the corner. You never know, what's going to happen. So you can't say this is a negative, this is a positive. It's just, it is. And for me, when I look back at my life, the fire, the job that I hated and got fired from, and just all those events, at that time, I definitely said, "Oh, this is crap. Like my life sucks." Right. But if I would have been more like the Chinese farmer and I've been like, "Well, we'll see," maybe I would have known that, hey, look at where I'm at now. Right. There's a purpose. There's a reason things happen. So I would just say, keep a positive attitude and keep a positive mindset. That would be my big takeaway. How about that?
Oh,
and we'll see.
And we'll see.
And we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask you, because I'm really into vision. Like, where are we all going? Where are you going? Where are you heading?
Oh, you want to know my vision?
I do really want to know.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Okay, so this is all recent for me. But yeah, after I figured out, my grandmother's role in my driving belief, my purpose, like I said, became to heal. So the way I'm looking at doing it right now is I've got the show Tripping Through Transformation. That's like a learning platform for me. I bring on guests that I want to learn from. I'm practicing my vocal skills. I'm practicing telling stories. I'm practicing connecting with people. Because the next step for me would be to become a coach, right? Coach people on whatever, life coach, resilience coach. I haven't figured that out yet. The details are coming up, but and then I'd like to do public speaking, be like a motivational speaker.
Nice.
After that, I would like to have healing centers, retreats, whatever. I just want to make people feel good and help them. And then at the pinnacle of my vision, I want to collaborate with Elon Musk or other space venturing organization just to ensure the mental health and wellness of space colonists, space travelers, because I believe we are going to land on Mars one day. We are going to colonize other planets. And I think that the people we send there are going to need mental health. They're going to need, you're in space on another planet. You're definitely going to need tools and stuff. So that's kind of my end goal, is to help the future generations, our next wave of colonists. Yeah. And I know it sounds far-fetched, but I was always told dream big. I dreamt as big as I could. So
yeah. Well, and what do you always say about painting your picture? Because he's painting his own picture.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the paintbrush and you've got the board, and you get to paint the life you want.
Yeah.
You really do. That's what we tell our daughters, and they're painting their picture.
Don't let anybody else paint your picture.
Yeah,
you got the brush.
Yeah,
you paint it. Yeah.
And I don't have the full details of how I'm going to achieve that, but what I'm finding out is the more actions I take, the more traction I take, and the more obvious it becomes, like what plan what's my next move. So it's just a matter of getting started, and then things kind of just fall into place.
That's right.
Fantastic. Well, we're really enjoying this conversation today, Guy. However, we do have to take a short break.
All right.
Everyone, hey, if you want to learn more about us, and you can come on over to doctoronthemission.com, and that's where you'll find us, find out more about the MD and Chef team. And we'll be right back after these messages.
1 week after launching our exclusive sneak peek, NGBN TV was live for 3 days of continuous coverage from Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas.
NGBN TV is live from Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58.
The one-of-a-kind streaming TV network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s was the conversation for the big game about men's mental health. And the world of athletes, celebrities, and influencers were on notice. But we're just getting started with new partnerships announced like the Team Nike 3-on-3 Championship and new platforms available to download the NGBN TV app. So, what are you waiting for? Download the app today from your favorite streaming device or check us out at ngbn.tv. This is NGBN TV.
Does life feel heavy at times? Does it feel like you could use a little more hope and encouragement? Hi, I'm Janine Lindquist, host of The Look Up Show on NGBN TV. Tune in for insights that I'll be sharing to educate, encourage, and empower you to be your best self. You'll find that as you heal from the wounds of your past, that your scars and challenges can be something that propels you forward instead of holding you back. So join me on The Look Up Show as I give you some things to think about and leave you with something to smile about.
You know that space you just saw right there? Well, that space could be yours. If you're sitting at home or you're at work or you're in the car and you're thinking, wow, you know, I've got a brand, I've got a product, I've got an organization I want to share to the world, share to thousands of men, because that's what we're doing here. We're sharing into thousands of men's homes and into their families, and get that product in, then let us know. We've got very affordable sponsorship spots available for you. If you're interested, just go ahead and send us a message at info@doctoronamission.com. That's info@doctoronamission.com. Yep, right there. Because you know what? We are saving men's lives. We're focusing on men, our brothers, our fathers, our uncles, our sons. You know, they're suffering. They are the highest rate that are suffering with anxiety and depression. Men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they're taking their lives. That doesn't have to happen. That's what we're here for. Come and join us on the MD and Chef Team Show on the NGBN TV network. Yeah. You and I, we can work together to stop this and to share your product. Thank you.
Yeah. And share this show out today, because I'll tell you what, this interview with Guy today, I mean, if you're not moved by his inspiration, if you're not moved by his resiliency and just stick-to-itness of life, I don't know how you can not be moved. So share this out to others that may need it, because this is an amazing conversation today.
And you are inspiring millions of people, Guy. Don't you ever stop doing this, okay?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. That's the plan.
Now,
yeah.
We're in our relationships chat, relationships conversation part of the show. And today,
say that 5 times.
relationships conversation part of the show. And today we're talking about relationships with guys, relationships with men. Because women don't seem to have quite as much of a problem with that. You know, you see women out networking, chatting, getting together, having a good time, but guys seem to struggle with this a little bit. And so let's have some conversation around guys getting together with other guys and having a good time and developing strong, empowering relationships, not just, you know, junky relationships where all you can do is, you know, complain about the wife or, you know, whatever that may be, you know, and complain about the wife and the kids and that. I mean, those aren't the guys I'm looking to be around. Oh, you know,
no.
Yeah, we all got junk going on, but we really want to be empowered with the relationships we're with. So what do you, I know you had a few things.
Yeah, I had a couple of points I wanted to bring out is, you know, when you're building friendships, it's really important to have boundaries. And boundaries I think of as a gate. I don't know about you, but I never grew up with boundaries. I mean, I remember a counselor said to me, Isabel, you got to have boundaries. And I'm like, what the heck is that? What's a boundary? And she's like, well, it's like a gate. A gate is around you to let people in or to keep people out. So we all have to remember that we need to have boundaries, strong boundaries of the types of people we're going to let in that are going to feed into our heart. And I encourage you that if people aren't lifting you up, if they're not encouraging you, like Gui is surrounded by men and a woman here, and I'm sure Janine, just encouraging him. That's who he needs. And he knows that he can fall onto us to help support him. And that's what's important, is make sure you've got people that are in your corner.
Yeah.
Not people that are making fun of you or tearing you down, because that's not good for your heart or your mind.
Yeah. And we all have to have something we do, especially from a socialization point of view, because for myself, I work at home a lot. I mean, it's the home business that we're in. And I go out and play golf, and that way I get to be with other people doing other things. I mean, whatever it is for you. I mean, for me, that's the socialization process. Talk a lot, about what you do and have some fun, have some good banter, and that also other guys I like to get together with and just have a coffee, and sometimes we'll just talk about the kids and how's it going in life and this and that. But, developing those relationships, especially for us guys, is very, very important. We don't want to isolate ourselves, because that's when we can really get in trouble, when we isolate ourselves and we're not out there with other guys doing things. So I wanted to ask you, Guy, is there anything, you want to add into the kind of the relationships part of the chat?
Yeah. I mean, I've never really been good at making friends. I'll be upfront with that. I've always been more of a recluse, and I've had coworkers that I would hang out with, but it was, poker games, and that was it. We never did anything outside. I had nobody I could really lean on and trust with personal things. Let's just say it. It was always my partner, my girlfriend. And if my issues were with her, I was kind of stuck. So, but yeah, for me, I would say now I'm definitely putting myself out there. I'm trying to socialize more. And I would say the most important thing for me was to stop trying to please everybody. First of all, really figure out who I am, figure out my values and beliefs are, and then try to attract people that have similar mindsets, and not get upset if some people don't resonate with that, and be okay with letting them kind of just fade into the background, because you're never going to be happy with everybody. Everybody's not going to like you. So just be you and try to find your people. That's what I'm doing anyways.
It's so good, because we just got to stop trying to please everybody. That's just never going to happen.
I mean, we could be nice, but that doesn't mean, it's just going to happen. Sometimes it's not.
And there's some relationships, like I have 2 close friendships. I call them close because they're my longest friendships, but we don't communicate frequently. But I have a friend that I haven't seen since I was 10 years old. But when I lost my job, and I sent him an email, I said, hey, I'm thinking of going to lighting. I said, you have lighting. He didn't hesitate to help me with information, connect me with people, and to me, that's a real friend. It didn't matter that we hadn't spoken in 30 years. And then I have another friend, Dave, the guy who makes my music for my show. I mean, we don't really see each other. He lives in a different province, but we communicate all the time. And I know he's always going to be reliable and there for me. So there's different types of friends, Yeah.
Yeah.
There are. And you just made a great point. It doesn't have to be like right next to each other. This internet connection, you can have a very good, close relationship on the internet and through email and phone. Like, it doesn't have to be face to face.
Yeah, I personally feel there's a bit of connection missing through this. Like, I do reach out to a lot of the guys at NGBN, but I've never met a single one of them in person. And part of me feels like I'm missing that. Like, I want to have a get together and shake their hands.
We will.
It'll happen.
We will definitely all get together. It'll be one big great group hug.
But yeah, the guys at NGBN have been a great source of support and inspiration for me. They've all contributed they all have different qualities that they kind of shed on you. So I've been absorbing whatever I can.
Yeah. And another thing I just wanted to touch on briefly also, and I know this will be good for you because it was good for me, is we got to be careful with comparison.
Mm.
You know, I mean, I'm 66 and I'm really happy with where I'm at now, but there's so many years that I lost because I was dumb, shall I say. But you get in these comparisons sometimes of other people in your situation of life. Oh, they got more stuff and they're further along and this, and you can really get caught up in that trap. And I would say for somebody like yourself who's been through so much stuff in your life, that don't allow yourself to get caught up in that comparison trap, because actually you got a lot you're gonna be achieving the rest of the way. So they might even be done. They might have achieved a lot and be done. You just get started.
Yeah. Can I add to this? I thought the show was cutting. No, I have something I can add to that.
Go. Yeah, okay. We'll let you know.
So to talk about comparison, I used to put people on pedestals all the time, and I think it's just because as a kid, I had such high expectations of myself, and I didn't see it pan out through my adult life. And I was like, well, who am I to believe I'm this good? You know what? I was questioning myself. So when I first connected with Ian, I flat out told him, I said, Ian, if in your video you would have been wearing a suit and a tie, I would have never reached out to you. It's because you were wearing jeans and a t-shirt and a ball cap that I found the confidence to say, hey, all right, he's like me. Like the word CEO kind of just disappeared, right? If I would have just seen a guy that says CEO in a suit, never would I have said, hey.
I know.
So yeah.
Good point. Yeah. Hey, listen, we gotta close it down, Gray. But before we go, I just want to say thank you so much for being with us, Gray. And know, everybody, that you are here to be a blessing. Please always remember that, and remain unstoppable.
You are an inspiration to all of us, Guy. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
You guys. Thank you.
See you,
brother.
Bye-bye.